you. My name is Mr. Richard Hugh. It's actually Eric Strauss, but that didn't rhyme. I'm live. I'm all live, all stream, all the time. That's just who I am. It's what I do. It's why I am. It's where I do. And every other kind of imaginable I do. I'm pretty pleased and excited. I'm pretty excited and happy that with myself, but like also like okay, well, it makes sense. I starting to feel like myself again. I start acting like myself again. I made a couple of new Mindy's Club shorts today, and I enjoyed it a great deal. It made me laugh making it. And I haven't finished the storyline. It's the storyline of her and the gang going bungee jumping. Mindy's not in this party that's going bungee jumping, but it's a double date. Although Tiffany doesn't know this yet, but Sasquatch's date is going to be Weird Knees Lady. Tiffany, if you don't know, has a bit of a beef with Weird Knees Lady. His name is not actually Weird Knees Lady. That's what Tiffany calls her. Did you see I made a couple of Mindy's Club shorts?
What?
Did you see these shorts?
No.
You want to see it?
Yeah.
I made two of them there. No, it won't take you very long to watch them.
Okay.
So you know how it is with live streaming, prospective viewers. I'm talking to the camera. I'm live streaming right now.
Are you live
I just started it a second ago.
Oh, I had no idea it was Roleplay.
That's because I literally probably started it after you walked out of the bedroom or before you got in the kitchen.
Oh. I would have been in the chat.
No, I just started it, darling. I'm saying when you got up to walk into the kitchen, that's probably when I started it.
Oh, I see.
Anyhow, I'm gonna pull up the live chat. Oh no, I'm sorry, I'm waiting for Rachel to show her these things. But I will still pull up the live chat over here. With a meow meow here and a meow meow there, here a meow, there a meow, everywhere a meow meow. There we go. All live stream, all live, all stream, all the time. Honk Honk Sports is first. Lady in red says hi. You are first, Honk Honk Sports. You do not lie when you claim that title. Aha. Something else I need to get out of the car and bring inside the house. Can you guess what it is? Rhymes with chong or long, and it fits in my drink holder. Leave me, bae, says hello, honey. Well, I prefer not to be called honey by people who are not my beautiful and delightful wife, but it could be a southern thing. That's fine, Well, bless your little heart, honey. And after you're done doing that, can you kiss my grits? I was first, but I didn't type. Well, the claim isn't first here, it's first in the chat. Right, I'm waiting for Rachel to come in here so I can show her these couple of shorts. I'll show it to you as well when I do so. I'll put the camera that way, let you see for a little bit. They are, in fact, very short videos. The second one is long for one of my shorts. Listen, guys, the truth is, I was here first, and I typed in invisible ink, and that's why you can't find it and see it in the chat. Kind of tricky like that. And now, there's nothing else you can do because since it's invisible, you just have to take it on my word that it's before you guys. Okay. Are you ready? Let me push play on these two wonderful shorts that I made. I'm actually only 184 at the moment, but I've already begun planning my 200th birthday 16 years from now. How old are you? I'm guessing like 12? I don't know. All right, here we go. So as I said before, and I will repeat my introduction, I'm very pleased with myself to have made these shorts because it's the sort of thing I do when I'm feeling like myself, behaving like myself. I like to make things like this. Making these makes me laugh. Today we're going body jumping.
I think what you're talking about is called bungee jumping, actually.
Bunnies jump. Onions don't jump. Today we're going body jumping. That's a very short, right? And the second one is rather a bit longer.
Well, where is this bungee jumping?
It's too far to walk this one. Fortunately, I bought my trusty steed, the Angelo Collar. I'm not a horse. Hold on, just ride. Let's ride.
Sasquatch say hi. Sasquatch want to know what you guys doing.
We're going body jumping.
Sasquatch want bunny jump too.
Oh, just hop on my trusty steed and we'll go.
I can barely put it down.
Angelo, go, what are you doing? What's wrong with you, little man? Come over here, Angelo, go. You ain't the darter job of the heart. I carry us to the bed. Come on, guys. That's so funny.
That's so funny.
You know what we should do? Let's take a moment of silence for the unidentified, missing in action or killed in action chatter, and just say, today, that brave soul, anonymous, whomever he is, he gets it. And frankly, I'm going to say, not anybody here deserves it. I'm waiting for somebody better to show it. Then maybe they'll deserve it. I'm just kidding. I think if anybody's deserving, it's definitely you. Yeah, that's right. You know what I'm talking to. It's you. You're the most deserving one of all. They all think I'm talking about them. I think we should have a silence contest. Who can make more room for the other one to speak first? Hong Kong Sports deserves it. He's the winner. I'm enjoying this back and forth between you two. Merciful heavens. I left my bong in the car.
No.
I'm going to have to go outside and get it.
I'm so sorry.
That's okay. I think I'm going to live through this one. No, I can't win. I give up before it even begins, Hong Kong Sports, because when I'm live streaming, I would say as high as 99% of the things I do are speaking. Occasionally, I'll give you a healing gaze. Occasionally, I'll do some miming, of course, like anybody. I'm trapped inside of a box. If you couldn't tell, I'll just say what I am doing. This is wind, and yeah. You make an excellent point, SB, especially after all that driving. That was a real drive-a-thon. I left yesterday around midnight-ish, yeah. And got back today around, like 7:30, 8 o'clock, something. I'm not exactly sure when it was.
6.
Oh, 6? Okay. Oh, hell no, I'm not doing push-ups for you. That's right. I keep running afoul of the same barrier. The bong is still in the car. You're not going to be able to pack a bong rib. You're not going to be able to pack a bong rib until you go get it. This is the problem with your advice, SB Uni. If I could somehow Instead of me going and getting the bong, if the bong could just walk over here to me, that would be fantastic. Since that's not possible, it's basically like I sat down too soon. Where was I when the Challenger exploded? I was in one of my junior high classes. We were actually watching it on the television there. I really was like, oh my god, man. I didn't think, I was just like, whatever. Who cares? I had bipolar in middle school. I got like, okay, I guess I can't make jokes about this because everyone looks all serious. I don't know why they would care. They don't know any of those dumb people. That's what I thought about it. Well, at least we got to watch a TV thing with today in math, and until it went and exploded. They turned it off as soon as it exploded. Thanks a lot. You ruined a perfectly good TV day in math. Who knows what we're gonna have to do? Probably have to do math. Thanks, Challenger, for making my workload worse. Oh, I've got to fix this somehow, some way. I hate it so much. Maybe I could fix it with some glue or something.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Well, we can screw this, that's fine, but well, I guess I just need to like not tilt it over too much. Ooh, the water's all nice and cold for being in the car. I'm not torching the microwave. I was standing near the microwave while torching the bomb. So I retrieved the bomb successfully. Oh my god. If you scoundrel don't stop doing that, I'm going to throw a little fit. I got to figure out a way to fix this so it stops doing that. Maybe get some wire or something. I have some somewhere in the garage. Let's go look for a little bit of wire or something. This beard is actually neither real nor spray painted. It's a kind of moss that grows in South America that really takes coloring and texturing well, and it takes about a week of steady appointments for them to complete your beard. But once completed, it stays good for up to 2 years. So some people call it chia beard. Oh god! Everywhere I step, I think, oh, another thing I need to deal with. I gotta clean the cat box. Let's try to fix this. I know. Good luck, right? You know what? I have a little bit of faith in your old friend Eric, okay? What do you say about that? How about you believe in me for a change? Did I not bring my glasses? Oh my god. Oh my god. What am I going to do now to make this stay on here? Let me find some wire. Well, I've got some wire right here. This like speaker wire. I'll just cut a little piece of this and see if we can make it stay. What are you gonna cut it with? That's the problem, I know. Just hush a bush. How will I cut this? I did do this job, but that's not a very good thing for cutting this. Oh, God. Fine, I'll go get the fucking scissors. First, I'll clean the goddamn cat box. And I'll go out to the car where I know there's a pair of scissors in my backpack, I think. Oh. Purple is like a world leader in disgustingness. That like weird kind of yellowish, whitish pea thing. He's fixed, but it still seems like he sometimes sprays a little bit, but not in the house or anything, but just, I don't know what else you call that weird looking pea. Maybe it's just not healthy or something. He's such a fucking psychopath, too. Oh god, that cat's a pain in the ass. Okay. Ta-da! Here's your little porridge. Our least pleasant job is complete. Oh god. Well, cat boxes. Horrible. Oh, I do have my glasses with me. They're in my pocket. I have some glasses with me anyway. Not my ideal pair, but that's fine. Yeah, I cleaned the cat litter. Why does the scarecrow get a raise? Because he was outstanding in his field. That's a great joke. I like that joke a lot. Should be open. Hopefully. Yes, good. Yeah. All right. We're going to fix the torch. And it's going to bring a whole new attitude of success to everyone. My pants are falling down. But with this pending success, nobody even cares. Let's close the garage door so it's not freezing. So now we've closed the garage door, but we've failed to make it unfreezing yet. Probably because there's no source of heat in there. Scissors. 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 I know I have scissors. Look at it at eye level. Yeah. go. What happened to my scissors? Way back in 1982. My parents' scissors. I grew very close to my scissors. Became attached to them, and now my scissors is gone. Whatever shall I do? I'll have to use a different pair of scissors. Okay, maybe it's like spilled out of it or something. I don't know. Maybe it's in a car. I hate how I'll constantly lose stuff. I wonder where the wife is. I'm in bed, sleeping with my eyes. It's a good thing to sleep with. All right, so we're going to cut a piece of this. Hi, the deal for real, the deal for real. Oh, it's some fucking stupid ass shit that doesn't even deserve explaining. Okay, I don't need a big piece of wire. This should be adequate. But I will bring these scissors outside because I might need to do some more cutting. I should have scissors out there anyway. I had to wage cook. What happened with the boxes? The safe deposit boxes? I mean, I got the stuff out. Did what I had to do, yeah. But the thing is, if you're talking about, if you were here this morning when I was in the parking lot saying, I'm scared to go into the bank because I think they might not let me get into my scary safe deposit boxes. Well, I told the story a few times now, so but I'm going to tell it to you again anyway because it's so fucking trippy. It tripped me out so much. So if you were here, you heard me bellyaching in the car about how I had this irrational fear that for some reason they were going to deny me access to my safe deposit boxes. And it took me a while to say, okay, that's it. I just have to go get this out of the way. I'll see you guys later. I'm going to go into the bank and deal with this shit. So then I turned off the stream. I went into the bank, as indicated, and dealt with some shit. Now, here's the part that's trippy. So I go up to the cashier lady at the first window, and I say, hi, I'd like to get into my safe deposit boxes, please. I'd like to get into both of them because I don't remember which one the stuff I want to get is in. And the lady behind the counter was like, okay, can I have your driver's license, please? She was a Chinese lady who spoke, she was bilingual, but she spoke, I think it's fair to say, better Chinese than English, but was fluent enough in English just fine. She and I communicate just fine. She just had an accent. Anyway, that's not really relevant, but so she starts typing my ID into her little computer thing, and she's like shaking her head, like, what is this? I don't know, this doesn't look good. And then she said the words to herself, like she was mouthing it to herself and saying it out loud, like a non-native English speaker might, with the words, that you sort of hear them in her ears, with the words restricted access. And I was like, I didn't say anything at that moment, but I was like, what is going on? And it looked like she was looking very serious and like frowning and stuff. And she said that, and then she got the attention of the lady next to her. And the lady next to her looked over at her screen and she's like, oh, no, that's me. And then that was the end of it. Oh, okay, no problem. Yes, go ahead and no. So I don't know. I don't know what to make of that. I mean, it could be informative about some state of affairs those safety box deposit boxes had before my dad died. See, I technically had access to those safety deposit boxes for a long time. It's been listed in my online banking and stuff. But but what it makes me wonder is if at some point before his death, my dad, fearful of me actually accessing the safety deposit box, which I never did, even though it was available to me, I just thought, well, why do I care what's in the safety deposit box? I'm not allowed to have anything in there. I just kind of understood it as a contingency in case they died or something, like all of a sudden. If you need all of a sudden money, go into the safety deposit box. But now I'm wondering if my dad had actually restricted my access in some fashion, and what the other lady was clearing up was that no, that guy's dead now. This is now the guy in charge of the box. Possible. It makes more sense than anything else I can come up with. It also makes me feel, in general, I've been feeling not very particularly charitable to my dad lately. Like, instead of feeling guilty, I've been feeling more like, you know what? Fuck off. You, you really just, I mean, the total lack of respect that you have for me and demonstrated to me throughout our 50-year-long relationship. Frankly, sir, it was appalling. I mean, I get it. I'm the intuitive, but this doesn't mean I can make you understand why what I'm saying matters. I guess it's just a carbon fucking thing. You just can't because he's got no NI, and he couldn't because he had no NI. But it's been coming up like I had a dream, a crazy fucking dream, not that many nights ago, where just to sum it up as quickly as possible, at the end of the dream, I was saying something to my dad like, "But Dad," something like that, and oh, I know. I said, "But Dad, you asked the neighbor to watch me?" And then the neighbor lady, the Chinese lady, she came poking out across the street from the old Highlands house and said, "Your dad doesn't trust you." Like, what kind of a weird, like, psychologist mill dream is that? I'm glad I kept these twist ties. I knew they'd come in handy for something. Joke's on you, Dad. I never tried to access the safe deposit boxes. So fuck off. I don't think I even knew where the cash was in the house before he died, let alone try to get at it. Which he also like had, I guess, I don't know, secreted away or something. He had a lot of little caches of nonsense. Well, whatever. He's dead now. And I realize that I've been projecting a fair amount of Dave Strauss onto myself in some ways. Like, Eric, you can't possibly do anything but get this rental up and running and then run it yourself, and so you can get as close to a positive cash flow as possible. But there's another plan that's, at the very least, a possibility in the works now that says we're going to get it up and running. And then once we demonstrate that it makes a profit and what the profit looks like, have some books to show somebody, then we could sell it as a already operational money income property, an already operational income property. And I think with the improvements we made with fixing the septic tank and the paint job, we'll also put in some little air conditioners so we get good reviews. Let the buyers then worry about the outrageous electricity bills in the summer. Then sell that house, hopefully I'm not expecting to make a huge profit, but should have appreciated because of the improvements we've made, if nothing else. And considering this scenario that I painted, where we have it operational for a few months to demonstrate this is how much income it brings in, etc. That would increase the value of the home by at least $25,000, maybe a little bit more. I think we could probably, if we had it like that, like I'm saying, show somebody you can just buy this thing and immediately start collecting checks every month. Well then, I bet we could get as high as $330 for it. If that were heavily touted in the listing, especially, good job, you stayed on. I successfully did it. Let's see if this lights still. Yeah. Okay, so hopefully you're done falling off now. You might say this is a little bit jury-rigged. Okay, fancy pants, I admit it's not the cleanest looking job in the world. But it still works fine. Well, it works fine now. Instead of the top falling off every time I try to fucking use the thing. What was I going to do? Oh, yeah. I want to pull this back. I go around here somewhere. I need another twist tie. Which, if you didn't know, incidentally, is what the dance, the twist, is named after. Is it really named after that, Eric? No, it's not. I was joking. In the style of famous Spanish artist Raúl Diego. He's known to be a genius in every medium. He touts himself as, in Spanish though, as the world's only every medium genius. We'll see. I, Raúl Diego, I am a genius in every kind of art. In music, in plays, in paintings, in everything. Feature film, I am a genius. Okay, Mr. Diego, could you tell me which of your films you're most proud of? Well, Diego doesn't have time to make films with his fingers like a lowly censor. Raúl Diego makes films with his ideas. What are they called? He hasn't made any of these films yet, but he has all of the ideas. And that's what matters. That's why Raúl Diego is a genius. And you're just a reporter interviewing me. No, I'm not a reporter, I'm just your neighbor asking you a few questions. You want to buy a painting or what? I got a nice one right here, $79,000. $. For you gringos. I'm gonna pass. Thanks for the offer, though. I do appreciate that. You want a discount? $78,000. Dólares. American, 78,000. It's only a $1,000 discount roll. Oh, you greedy kind, eh? You want big discount. Okay, 76,000. Final offer. No, thank you, bro. Okay, 75,900. No, thank you, bro. What's it gonna take to get you into this painting? Got to get you into my life. Do. It's a good song, like to play in a TV show or a movie. Anytime a character really wants to get something, they like. Can't you picture like a montage of, say, a woman wants this one super fancy outfit in the window in one of those New York window display things, and then it starts the montage. She walks by. Got to get you into my life. And then they show her working extra jobs and stuff, and imagining this dress. Oh God, I want that dress. Doesn't it seem like a good thing for a montage like that? I think it does. I'm probably right about that. Oh, let's take a look. Winston's mom would be yelling at me right now about what? What's she yelling at you about? Blood gang members never eat at Burger King because it stands for blood killer. Really? So do they eat at McDonald's because it sounds like making Crips die? Is that how they interpret McDonald's? With Jack in the Box, like just all Crips killed in the blood over zone, but zone spelled with an X. Is Subway slay urban bloods with all yarns? Maybe a better weapon somewhere out there. What's a weapon that starts with Y? The Yowlbird? The Yorning Star? All right, it'll be a Morning Star, but it'll just be Morning Star represented by a Y. Did I leave this water in here from right now? Or from before? I don't know. I do know that I think I'm going to take a couple oogly booglies, as I call the gabapensions. I'm going to take a couple oogly booglies.
Sounds good.
And then I'm going to eat some more food. And then I'm going to eat some more food. Rachel gets a little bit more knocked out from the weed edibles than I do. So, like, this drink we drank tonight was pretty strong. It was 100 milligrams. She's kind of laid out by it, but that's because she didn't have any Adderall in her, whereas I have Adderall in me, so I'm not laid out by it. Even if I didn't take Adderall, I probably wouldn't be quite as laid out by it as Rachel, although sometimes I am. Of course, she's smaller, weighs less. Obviously, drug's gonna hit her a little harder. I just recently, in fact, reached my goal weight of 1,000 pounds. You can't really tell the scale from on my phone camera, but I'm actually 17 and a half feet tall. And thanks, beautiful. And of course, the other problem is some of my bones are made out of lead. Making them. Well, it just makes me extra heavy. That's why my target weight was 1,000 pounds. I've reached it. I'm finally cut enough. Yeah, I've been going to the gym, the gymnasium. When I work out, I like to go visit the gymnasium, where they have, like an indoor wooden floor that we do calisthenics on. Things like toe touches, jumping jacks, stretch your arms, and other things like that. Wonderful times are had by everybody. Did I get into the SD box? Oh yeah, I did. Were you here this morning too? But the crazy thing is, I told this story now too many times. I don't want to tell it to you again, but it's a crazy thing that happened. When I went in and told the lady I want to get into my safe deposit boxes, the lady who was less experienced but was my lady, was working with me. She starts typing in my driver's license stuff. She's like, was shaking her head and looking like making little sounds and frowning and stuff. And then she reads out loud to herself, like, as would somebody whose native language is Chinese and wants to like hear the words in her ears. She says, restricted access. And I was just sitting there going like, I actually thought, oh my God, but you know what the good part about this is? Since apparently I'm not going to get into the safe deposit boxes, is that somehow I magically predicted this. And then she gets the attention of the lady next to her, the more experienced one, and she leans over and goes like, no, this is no. I wasn't sure what that was all about. I just thought it was incredibly strange. But in the aftermath of the event, thinking about it a lot, I just wonder if prior to my dad's death, I had restricted access because he didn't trust me. Even though I knew I had access because it was always listed in my bank account. I believe he told me I could access it. But of course, I didn't have the key. So how was I going to access it? So I don't know. I don't know what that was all about. I just don't know what that was all about. Like, why would she have said those two words, restricted access, to herself? What was she looking at? And then after, oh yeah, it's all done. No. Then after the lady said, oh no, it's fine. I said, is there some kind of problem? And she said, oh no problem. And then I went back, got the stuff out of the safe deposit boxes, went to Alhambra Coin Center. I was pleased with it's a good time to sell both gold and palladium. Prices are through the roof. And I bought a thing from the coin center as well for myself. I sold really precious metals, but I just bought something that's made out of silver because I thought it looked so cool. I thought it'd be a good card protector if I ever play live poker again, which I certainly will when we go to Vegas. I bought this beautiful, beautiful silver coin. It's an ounce and a half rather than just an ounce, and it's perfect for a card protector. It's heavy, it's silver, it's shiny. I like it a lot. Put it in my wallet there. Pretty cool, huh? I just said to the guy, like, how much is that thing? Because I was pretty sure it was $40 because the one next to it was $40, but it was a little bit different. And it was $40. And I said, can you just subtract it from the amount you're going to give me? He said, yeah. And I was like suggesting it as he offered it, basically. I said, yeah, that'd be cool. So I don't think I had to pay any tax or anything on it. I don't think he put it on the receipt. I think he just did it. Maybe made some kind of receipt for himself, but like he's probably going to just account for that $40 some other way. I don't know. Why do unresolved conflicts bother you so bad with your dad's relationship? I mean, I don't think the thing that bothers me about my relationship with my dad, especially towards the end of his life, but throughout his life, I don't know, the thing that bothers me is unresolved conflicts. I think I don't know if it's anything's bothering me per se specifically, like this is the thing, but after his death, I went through a roller coaster of odd emotions. I had been told not long before he killed himself that he had made Delilah exclusive trustee of the trust. He'd taken me off the trust, which is just fucking ridiculous and absolutely appalling, right? However, he also informed me that I was power of attorney over my mother. So after he was dead, my mother was still alive. I was in complete control of everything. I could do whatever I wanted to the trust, anything. Because my mom was still alive and she had authority over the trust just as equal to my dad's. Although my dad, those probably didn't exercise it very much. But I'm not sure my dad kept her informed necessarily, especially as she started to get a little dementia. He obviously didn't. But I know when she was younger, I think they were pretty even teammates on the whole thing. Regardless, the thing is, after my dad killed himself, I was nowhere near feeling like a person with power to accomplish things. I felt like I just felt completely wrecked by having been, I perceived it disinherited. When we actually went to, because that's how my dad talked about it. Like, he said to me, do you know what that means? I took up office of trustee. I said, yeah, Dad, you want to rub it in or something? Because it was shocking to me. But I also understood why he did it. It wasn't just because he didn't trust me. It was because he didn't want Rachel to get any legal access to the trust. And even though that would give Rachel no legal access to the trust, no matter what happened, even if we married, which we did, he didn't have real faith in TI and NI. He had no ability for NI, so it doesn't matter how determinate a thing on the matter is. He's not really sure that the legal bindings of the trust will successfully exclude Rachel unless, and he doesn't have any, he's still trying to, at this point in his life, he's still trying to control my life after he dies and his money after he dies and all that shit, right? Except, it was never his money. It was my grandmother's estate, who was my mother's mother, my mother contributing shit tons to the family, but not quite as much as my dad's earnings, maybe, but more or less equivalent ish. And uh, I I didn't. I was super slow to realize any of these arguments until it was too late that I even realized the arguments. And the thing is, when my dad told me that stuff about taking me off as a trustee, um, I it stung or whatever, but it didn't really matter to me because I was still operating under this false frame that my dad was going to live for another 10 or 15 years anyway. So whatevs. I wasn't expecting to survive off any of their money anytime soon because my dad always made it clear to me that the family's money was not mine. Which is fine. I get that. You know, he's trying to build and preserve an estate for after he's gone. Fine. But I guess I had a kind of a challenging relationship with my dad once I got to teenagerhood into adulthood. It was sometimes better, sometimes worse. But when I moved back in to help with mom towards the end of their lives, especially after my mom got put in the nursing home, and then after he got locked out of the nursing home because of COVID, ridiculously, um, he got very, he got kind of mean, pretty disdainful. He made it very clear how he had no respect for me whatsoever. he, he he just thought I represented a his failure to parent properly, or I wouldn't have turned out like this. That was his perspective on me. He never told me these things in those words, but I'm an intuitive. I can intuit shit, no problem, by what he says and doesn't say, and by his general attitude, and sometimes by his exact words. Like I was. I think one time I was sitting at the dinner table with Rachel and my dad. And this is not the first time I'd heard him say this expression, but Rachel was there for this one. And I don't know, maybe I said something like, oh, I had this good idea about blah. And my dad said, nobody ever has any good ideas after 30. Okay. So what, should I just crawl up and die now? Of course he's insane. I'm at my ideational peak right now. I understand everything better than I ever have before. I'm more actualized than I ever have been before. ENFPs are slow to actualize. Unlike ESTJs, it seems like my dad was mature and ready to be a full blown adult man at like 8 years old or something. I know Daddy was wrestling bulls out in the field. He's a regular old Ernest Hemingway. And I was a soft, undisciplined, incompetent, um, uselessness box from his perspective. What do I think about all that? Well, like, why does it? I mean, I don't know quite what the process of processing it is, but I'm in a different place about the whole thing than I was not a super long time ago. The place I'm in now says basically, I'm done feeling guilty, and I actually feel like I should have been angrier the whole time. No, he wasn't projecting. Oh yeah, Bob UFO. It turned out, because my dad has no intuition, he says something like, I've taken you off as a trustee. You're no longer a trustee. What he doesn't tell me, which probably would have been relevant to know right away before I had already freaked out about this whole shit, was that in the will, it just simply directs the trustee Delilah to give, basically, to make the dispensatory me. You give all the shit to me, basically. So, I mean, who knows what he was doing? He didn't know what he was doing. He had no introverted intuition. He was doing a haphazard scattershot of random things in this, giving my ex-wife money in the will and stuff. So, when I okay, well, I mean, the thing is, but it wasn't projection in some kind of uh, way that we normally think of the term. He was projecting his own competency onto the world, saying, "I am this competent. It's easy for me to be this competent. I uphold competency as an absolute value, and think because I don't think deeply that it is the absolute value for everyone." And this boy of mine is not competent at any of the things he should be competent at. I know, tell me about it. Well, anyway, when my dad told me that he had removed me as a trustee, Delilah and I went back to the back house and we agreed on what we had agreed on for many years, which was that we have shared control, 50-50 ownership of the estate after my parents went. Delilah and I had agreed about that. And no, he was trying to control things after he was dead. But and it's like appalling, right? You've spent all of these decades trying to control every last detail of everything, and you know, not helping me out financially if I needed it in some fashion. Like if I came across a really big thing, I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to call that. He did not like to give me money, that's for sure. And he by and large just made sure that I understood that that wasn't for me. So I was accustomed to always being broke, but also always working hard and making my own money and stuff like that. But I think my dad felt, probably with plenty of good cause, I guess, betrayed by my bringing of Rachel around into the family. Well, as I said the other night when I was on mushrooms, TFB, motherfucker, because I choose the future, not you. An example of actual projection is like, um, you're angry. You're talking to me in an unacceptable tone. I'm the one who's angry and talking in the unacceptable tone. But because I am so defensive about whatever's going on, instead of recognizing that this argument is clearly ridiculous when you do that, etc. Thank you for I don't have to explain that. J Turnbull, I'm going to do it as well. An example of projection is a cheater accusing the loyal partner of cheating. That's another one, Elijah. That's a good one. Another example of projection is when they put a film roll and they shine a light through it onto a screen. Smoking on K2 tonight, and I ain't talking about the top of the mountain. Random answer, SB Uni. or an attention-hogging histrionic person, when they don't get to be command all the attention, saying like to the person who's getting the attention for once this time, saying, "You're such an attention hog," because she wants all the attention right now as well. Cheers. Apparently, you hold your father in a certain esteem. You seem to find him quite put together, essentially emotion aside. Well, the kind of things that he did well and was very attentive to are the kind of things that it's easy to understand the value of. It's very easy to understand the value of self-discipline, of persistence across time and in the same, like work projects that require you to go in every day and spend 3 hours doing until for a long period of time until it's finally done. Those kind of things all result in very measurable positive outcomes. Wow, look, Dad did this, Dad did that, Dad did these other things. It's amazing how much stuff he squeezed into his life. Except what Dad didn't do was intuit. And so little did he intuit that he couldn't even conceptualize the worth of intuition or an intuitive like me, um, because he deemed his own utility-driven frame to be the meta frame, that there wasn't actually any way to evaluate any question except for utility. It's implicit to ESTJs. And that's partially why he had so little respect for me, is he didn't see me as useful enough. Do I hold my father in a certain esteem? Sure. When I think about the times before before my mom, before he lost my mom, I think about times before he lost my mom, I'm struck by plenty of very good and happy interactions between my dad and me when I was a kid, and a resumption of some of those as an adult later on. Uh, but I have recency bias like anybody. It's easier for me to remember the last few years because there's kind of like a pretty big gap between. I mean, I hadn't lived there in my parents' house for at least 25 years. So it was weird being back there, but it was also it also tarnished him in my memory because it's like Delilah and I do it as it's supposed to be done, family wise. We're equal partners. It only works if you have a very small family, but my dad did have a very small family. But no, the deal for real. I had an extremely successful career as a debate coach. And I owned a debate school for a while, the director of a debate school before that. That was realistically, I could argue and probably win the argument, was the single best middle school competition debate school in the country. We won School of Excellence at National for multiple years in a row. I didn't have to, I was the director of a school that was exclusively focused on debate, for which I wrote the entire curriculum for the school too. And won. We won so much. So yeah, I was very high achieving for a long time. It didn't matter to him because what was high achieving to him was consistency in doing the same job over and over again for years, and consistency in doing the right things with the money that you make. And normal, well, I guess for an ESTJ, normal adult concerns. When your parents are really good at being adults, like did I base or debate? I don't know what that means. I was a debate coach. I mean, I get my father grew up in a third world country, extremely hardworking, but could never begin to comprehend the ways in which I'm actually brilliant. Yeah, I mean, but what they can do is be engaging with you from a perspective of looking for things of value that they like, etc. In other words, they can be fundamentally on your side, wanting to be impressed in some extent by you, or they can be fundamentally against who you are by just saying, I what you're doing, Eric, is of no interest to me and of no value to anybody, because you're just, if you think you're trying to like make new stuff, you're way too old. Something like that. It's just, what the fuck? Who does that? Getting to work, to live in an economy where work is plentiful and upwardly mobile is also an asset. Well, yeah, and being a debate coach is a much more, it has a lot more equity as a job than a teacher of some kind. Coaches have a lot more equity, not just debate coaches, sports coaches that win a lot too do. Because not every school cares about sports or cares about debate, but for schools that do, winning becomes super important, and they get proud of their programs and stuff. Like Gabrielina High School is a speech program that's been successful for many years, consistently in the top of the nation. But it's the vision of that coach who probably he's probably retiring by now. I haven't kept up with the field since I left. Do I have top chat or live chat on? I'll go see. Why, Saxy? I have top chat on. Thank you. Thank you for informing me that I'm not a C in everything. I feel glad for never having had a father. I mean, I wouldn't give up having had my father at all. He was a great dad for a kid. I mean, I didn't want to go do all those things he dragged me to do all the time, but I sure had plenty of things I did. He took me fishing, took me to Hawaii, took me, we were a tight family. He was great. My parents were spectacularly good parents. I mean, shockingly good parents. I don't know. I don't know what else to say about it. Got to watch them have their time with Delilah too, and the weird thing was, this is what I mean by my dad didn't trust me, and this is one of the more offensive things that I remember. Like, my mom and my dad were very worried about grandparents' rights and that they don't have any, and that at any moment I could leverage Delilah against them. Like, hello, mom, dad, I'm your son, and this is my daughter, and I'm not some sort of horrible, petty scumbag who does that kind of things. Just because something is technically possible doesn't mean you need to prepare a contingency for it. That's antipolar. And the contingency you're preparing for here is insulting to me, obviously. I would not leverage Delilah against anybody because I want Delilah to have the best relationship in life possible. She's got great relationships with you. And why would we have a falling out anyway? What the fuck are you doing? What are you thinking? It's crazy. But that's just two really, really disciplined, really reliable sensor types with SI high up in the stack who grew up in a time period or with the circumstances, one of the two, where they both had to work a lot. My mom had to work at the drugstore. My grandma owned a drugstore. She was a pharmacist. She had to work there all throughout her childhood, all the time. Not all the time, but very on a regular basis. But here's the thing. I did too. My parents dragged me up to the rental properties. I had to paint, I had to clean, I had to scrape this, I had to do all kinds of shit. So if the argument is somehow their upbringing, their circumstances made them disciplined, whereas it made me weak, that's bullshit. It just is. I obviously had no choice as a kid but to do all these things that my dad told me to do because my dad was not somebody you fucked around with. He just wasn't. He was like angry dad if he got angry and I don't know. He was all bark, no bite, really, in some ways. But he could also be weirdly, sneakily spiteful, like with all. Who knows what he was thinking? Yeah, well, I mean, I did fail to meet his expectations. And the thing to remember, I don't want to do him unfairly in this assessment of things. He cared very, very much about one thing only, which was his family. And investing in the family's wealth that came down from my grandma and mother's side successfully and blah, blah, blah. And like, I remember when it was quite some time before they died. Like maybe like a year before I moved in there. I went over to my parents' house for dinner or something, and my dad said he was grinning and he had like a drink. And he said, "Well, portfolio is officially over 7 figures." I'm like, "Good for you. Congratulations, Dad." I told him. Because, of course, what makes more sense than my father proudly sharing with his son that his portfolio is doing so well, that the family's doing so well, while his son has absolutely no access to anything of it. No access to any decision making regarding anything, no access to knowledge about things except what my dad felt like releasing on his term, on his schedule. And I don't know why he was the way he was. He was so controlling that when he asked, when I actually did finally get him to delegate some task to me, and he delegated to me get my mom's haircut, I said, "Okay, great. I will get this done at some point here this afternoon or tomorrow at the latest or something, and we'll take it from there. And I'll be in charge of making sure I'll find the barber, make sure the mom is treated well and everything, get her hair cut on the regular. I'm happy to do these tasks. I appreciate you delegating something to me because what I don't want is a bunch of specific instructions. If you want me to handle something, then delegate that area of thing to me. Say you be in charge of this. Do not just give me what he ended up doing there with the haircutting thing. So he delegated that task to me. Then we went home from the restaurant we were at lunch. And Rachel and I went to the back house, and then as I was getting ready to go down and talk to a couple barbers and stuff, looking into the beginning, and he came back home again from somewhere and informed me, "Good news, I found the barber we're going to use." I was like, "Okay, all right, Dad. I'll take Mom down there." Which is like he just could not relinquish control of anything, not even choosing Mom's barber. Never heard of an orphan hating their biological parents. Well, I wonder why not. Maybe because they don't know who they are. Or because they're dead. That's why. How did they die? I think Bob's just joking around, sexy. Of course, it's good to have two loving parents. It is the case that it's probably rarely the case. And the reason is because there are so many ways in which a relationship can go bad. One of the people can be toxic, the other person could be toxic, both of them could be toxic, or neither of them could be toxic, but there'd be fundamental intentional incompatibilities that result in an inevitable amount of conflict. He's just yanking your chain with his yanker. Bob UFO, I thought I told you to leave your yanker at home. Last time you brought your yanker, you made a huge mess. Wait, this is not the right. Yeah. Huge, huge mess. The kind of mess that I like to write home to Mother about, except that she's dead. So yeah, there seems to be some processing of my dad by me. And kind of like when I think about it now, it just sort of seems like the whole thing was inevitable. It was destined from the start because I was never going to be good enough to earn his respect, just his sort of grudging acknowledgement that I qualified as a full family member by virtue of being related to them, and by virtue of the fact that he blamed his own parenting for how I came out. It's like, ideally, Dad, maybe um, you wouldn't frame my existence as I am now as a problem stemming from your failure to do things differently. I mean, how much more fucking chores and shit would you have had me do? And what good would it have done? Was there anything you could have done that would have made me not a drunk and a drug addict? No. Not that we ever had this kind of frank conversation because my dad liked to play everything close to the vest. He didn't want to give me information because he was correct in figuring that it would empower me. Like he couldn't win arguments against me because if I was arguing against him, it meant he was wrong. Hi, Czechoslovakia. How's Czechoslovakia doing? I heard a rumor that it was either Czechia or Czech Republic nowadays. No longer Czechoslovakia. Oh, that's a saucy bong rip. Somebody fix the saucepan, that's the saucy bone rip. So ultimately, the question is, in my mind, is what the fuck was that all about at the bank? Is it what my theory was? If so, why wouldn't it have ever shown up on my electronic banking as restricted in some way? I don't remember it ever showing up like that or seeing anything of the sort. I mean, granted, I never really looked at it either of them much. I just thought, well, there's my parents' safe deposit boxes. I never thought of them as actually something I could access, even though I technically had access to them. I just assumed that it was some sort of, you know, family virtue signaling or something. Obviously, he wanted me to both think of the estate as somehow mine and deny me any ownership of anything in the status quo when he was alive. So accordingly, I mean, I don't know if it would have really helped because he just he did not like the kind of thing I had to offer. It was extroverted intuition, and his third slot, extroverted intuition, combined with FI meant he wanted to be the one talking. And of course, I learned to just sit there silently and listen plenty. But yeah, he wasn't a big fan of me talking. Not that he tried to silence me or anything. He just, he just carry on about now. What the Germans didn't know at the time was way back in 1914, at the Battle of East Burlington. Okay, wonderful to hear about all of this information. But he was also kind of a catalog of interesting information. Like I asked him one time, uh, why did the Americans not just nuke Tokyo? And he gave me a very great explanation, full explanation, and also offered some interesting insights, such as uh, what's that? Kyoto. Kyoto was originally on the list to be nuked, but one of the decision makers had taken his honeymoon there with his wife some years back, obviously, and he thought it was beautiful, so he crossed it off the list. Otherwise, the ancient temple, sacred Kyoto place would have been a apocalypse of hellfire. If you don't mind the vivid description, if you're scared of a vivid description or two, not much I can do for you. Because when I describe things, shit can get pretty vivid pretty fast. So if you like describing and you love being descriptive, pop out the chat now. Pop out the chat. Pop out the what? Pop out the chat. What am I going to pop out now? I'm going to pop out the chat. Okay. In a world where one man seeks answers and one woman has no questions, everybody will die. This one? Wait. This one? Wait. This one? Where's the poker? Oh, I see. It's on the other tab. That's the problem. Fold. Now, bring up this one. Put it over here. You can make a meow meow. Put it in your meow. Do I ever play video games? I do have a PlayStation 5. And I got the NCAA football game for it. That's the only game I play, really. The reason I put game in quotation marks is because I'm playing poker, but I don't really consider that like a video game, you know. Playing poker right now. Yo, shake some ass, Gramps. I'm not actually a grandfather. I'm sorry to tell you. I have a daughter, but she has no children yet. And accordingly, it is wrong to call me a grandfather. What was I just looking for? I do not remember. Maybe I'm Gramps after all. What was I looking for? I don't know. Who knows? Yes, SB Unny. And I am Unk, but it's short for unctuous. Do you want to ask me what the best flavor is? The best flavor is beef. Do you want to ask me an addition problem? Like 1,432? Well, it seems like we got disconnected there for a moment. I am so very deeply, profoundly sorry that happened to you. I will make sure that it never, ever happens again. I'm back, yeah. Why didn't Gore ever run again? He was busy chasing Man Bear Pig. That's my best guess. Spent a lot of time on Man Bear Pig. Oh, for fuck's sake. Will you just stop running out of electricity? They got it back up to 15%, but then that's just right on the boundary where it, no, 12%. God damn it. Would I smoke crack for $10 million? I'm sure I could find some cheaper crack than that. Hello, shopkeep. Give me 5 ounces of your cheapest crack. Have I smoked crack before? Yes, I have. I had one night of just smoking crack and running through my bank account, which at the time was the bank account of a young poor person, so it wasn't like I had a lot of money to burn through. So it's not that tragic that I tapped it out or whatever, but after that I never did it again because not only is it a stupid drug, but it gave me like bronchial pneumonia basically. I don't know, it really fucked with my chest. And besides that, it's just not a drug that really plays well as a social drug, say at a dinner party with the faculty or something. I say, Teresa, would you like to join Mary and I outside for a puff on the crack pipe? How delightful, Daniel! There's crack being smoked, shall we? It just doesn't really work like that with crack. Millions of people are going to die. In fact, billions of people are going to die, as billions already have. You'd rather boof a 7-gram rock than moof in a booth with Jerry Galoof. What did you burn the money on? What did I burn what money on? I mean, the money I made and stuff? Well, I don't know. I mean, the thing is, when when I started off with my wife Melinda, my first wife Melinda, I was a much different person in terms of my relationship with duties. So I was in charge of all the bills and stuff. I was on top of everything. I tried to delegate certain things to Melinda. She wasn't very reliable, but I was on top of everything. Not like as on top of everything as my parents were. And I always felt it then, and to some extent still do now, that I don't measure up, because my house isn't as clean, and my I don't have the regular repetitious behaviors of SI. I can't be counted on to know when I'm going to be awake, when I'm going to be asleep. JP, I always oil up immediately prior to any live stream, so that people who come in to tell me to oil up can discover themselves already sticky with the oil that's covering my entire body, especially down there below the belt. Mm-hmm. Oh, what about that? What I burn the money on? Crack. But what are we not getting? Yeah, empty the bank account for to get more crack. Like me, this other guy, and he He started us off with it like a rock, and then he got the next one, and then he was tapped out. He probably arranged the whole thing just so I would buy a bunch of crack. I once blew every dollar I had playing online roulette. Well, I was ill advised to do. Like I'm playing poker right now, and I'm losing, but the buy-in is $5, and I'm down 70 cents. I can afford that. It's pretty cheap gambling. Oops, that's not what I meant to do. I need this. What? Move this way a little bit. Unc, you got to get a VR MetaQuest. I don't want that. I got too many things going on. I don't need another distraction. I got the PS5 during a time period when I was depressed. I was feeling depressed, and I had been for a while, I guess. I didn't really recognize it as such, but I felt like I wanted something to do. And at some point, I learned that, remarkably, much to my surprise and delight, the NCAA football game was back in business after having been shut down for like 15 years because of copyright shit moving through the courts and NIL stuff, which stands for name, image, license, likeness. Name, image, likeness. That XQC guy promotes his gambling site to his young followers. Well, that makes sense. You know, ideally, if you want a product to sell, you want to sell a product that people find addictive to some extent. And gambling certainly has some of that quality to it. JP says fentanyl is better than crack. I don't think so, mister. I mean, I think they're both terrible, but fentanyl's a downer. Downers are bad, especially fentanyl, because it'll kill you with just like a little bit too much and you're dead. I know a guy who basically died on it, had to be brought back to life by the paramedics after his family or his wife was frantically pressing on his chest while they're waiting for the ambulance and stuff. Apparently, his chest was very, very beat up afterwards. Like, he felt like hit with a bunch of punches, I guess. Clonazepam is better than that role. But what's better than either is both together, Jimmy G. Jacobs. You don't have to choose, okay? You can have both. And when you do, you'll say, I see what you're saying, Eric. I'm up, I'm thwacked, but I'm also chill and, clonied up. Government tells us stuff we can't do too much. Like a 10-year-old should be allowed to smoke cigs if they want, I think. Okay, well. On 4 milligrams of cloney, huh? That's a lot per day, 4 milligrams. I think Rachel gets 2 milligrams a day and doesn't always take the 2 milligrams. The full 2 milligrams. You were prescribed it? Well, yeah, I mean, I'm prescribed Adderall. Rachel's prescribed cloney. Yeah, 2 milligrams is a white pill. You got little white pills, yeah. And, okay, so I'm on Addy and Wellbutrin and gabapentin. Rachel's on cloney, gabapentin, and olanzapine. You hate the withdrawal process of cloney? Well, I take it every once in a while, but not every day. I mean, I take it more than every once in a while, but not every day. Like, I try not to take any more than, say, 4 full ones. That would be, maybe I do 4 full ones a month because I take them a half at a time almost always. So I just take 1 milligram. Just kind of take the edge off and make things chill. Oops. Fold. I went cold turkey because they didn't prescribe it when I lived in Alberta, Canada. Hi, Easy BCLS. How you doing? Why am I so sensitive yet have a yearning, an inkling? I don't know. For dumb jokes sometimes, an irking? An irking for dumb jokes. Do they use that in England to mean like an itch? I guess that would be best. Why do I sometimes have an itch for dumb jokes? Well, because if it's a good joke, then it doesn't matter whether it's so-called dumb joke or not. Like, what was that joke somebody made earlier? I thought it was good. I'm not going to remember it right now because I'm starting to feel kind of tore up, and I haven't been awake for too long. I don't feel like I've got, I'm running on not quite all cylinders mentally, just intellectually. Which is a phenomenon I've experienced plenty of times before after staying up too long. It's actually not nearly as bad right now as it usually is at this point in the bottle because it's all thanks to the olanzapine. Because it seems like that shit will knock me out regardless of what else I'm on, Like, I may even take an olanzapine tonight if Rachel's cool with it because, I mean, I don't want to take too many of them. I know that she needs it and everything, but I think she doesn't really always take it. And she actually, when she does take it, she takes a half. The thing is, when I take it, I take a full one. The olanzapine. I think I expected olanzapine to be not a drug I'd be interested in taking at all because it's an antipsychotic. What it turns out though is that it's kind of great. I think I kind of like it a lot if you're ready to go to sleep. And when you do sleep, this is my experience anyway. It's like, oh my god, I can barely keep my eyes open. I took this olanzapine, and now I'm really, really sleepy. You get into bed, and then it's like, bam! Oh my god, it's morning. How long did I sleep for? Jesus Christ. That's what it's like with olanzapine for me. Of course, everybody responds differently to different drugs. Like, for Rachel, the thing that makes her go to sleep for sure is Klonopin. And she needs to go to sleep for sure because she has bipolar mania, and manic episodes are the consequence, for her anyway, and I think probably for all such, of accumulating sleep deprivation as the fugue state persists and prevents them from sleeping. She would stay up when she had a psychotic break. She stayed up for like at least a week straight. I shit you not. I've never stayed up for anything close to that long before, and I was a meth addict. I had stayed up 2 full nights, maybe into the third day, maybe a little, like an hour into the third night, maybe, but and then I just pass out and get a minimum of 4 hours before I could even wake up again. Rachel stayed up an entire week at least on no drugs at all, no uppers at all. All she did was smoke weed. But you could tell, you could just see the crazy in her. She had like this look about her that, there you go, oh shit. Rachel is, what the hell's going on with Rachel? At first I was like, okay, just let her do her thing out there and hopefully she'll like wear herself out or something, and this can't go on forever. Oh no. I forgot. And I put too much coffee. That's too little though. God damn it. Get it right, Eric. Just one scoop. If you just do one scoop of coffee, then you don't have to be all like, oh, how much did I put in? You forgot, you put in more than one scoop. Now we're going to make some coffee. We're going to hold off on this pie until the coffee is ready, because pie with coffee is better than pie without coffee. Oh shit, I forgot about this. I forgot about the poker. That's fine. I don't really feel like playing poker. I kind of do feel like playing it, but I don't want to, I can't settle into it until I really, I mean, I think you guys are making way too big of a deal of Kalani in terms of how it makes you feel. I find it has a very mild effect, really. You know, I'm sure if you take 4 milligrams, it'll knock you the fuck out, probably. But I'm typically taking 1 milligram. Rachel is taking 2 milligrams typically, although sometimes 1 milligram. She doesn't take it all the time every day. But the thing is, Rachel will never be going off of Klonopin because she has a legitimate mental health like disease, whatever you want to call it. You know, there are legitimate mental health things that cause, there are things like schizophrenia, bipolar mania, things that cause fugue states. But then there's bullshit stuff like ADHD and neurodivergence, and autism spectrum, that just give the whole field of psychology, psychiatry a bad name. And, you know, obviously, I think depression is a real mental health problem that people suffer from. And I think it probably manifests via a couple of different channels. Seems to me that my depression had a shelf life. And that while it's not entirely a distant memory, things are just different now. I don't know. I'm gonna go to the bathroom. I'm going to use my bladder, my urethra, and my man pole. You stand out there. I'll tell you what. Let me give you a more scenic view. You want to look at my mom? Okay, here. I'm going to show you Jane Strauss teaching freshman prep at San Marino High School. Oh, you're not going to be able to see it the right direction that way. And I think when you see this, you're going to be glad you stuck around until I went to the bathroom. You could gaze upon my mother's likeness rendered on ceramic tiles. My name's James Strauss, and I'm here to say welcome to freshman prep here today. All right, there you go. There's Jane. I'm going to the bathroom. Okay. Did you have a good time in here while I went to the bathroom? Did you see the ghost of my mother rise up from her porcelain tiles, or ceramic tiles, I mean, and occupy the room in the spirit of Christmas? What's so weird is, it's not that weird, but because I think I understand why it's the case, but it's kind of like maybe telling or maybe just worth noting in some regard. I have had like no dreams about my mom or really thoughts about her or anything like that because of the very slow degenerative disappearance of her. You know, instead of dying one day, an Alzheimer's person fades away into nothingness. So you have many terrible goodbyes over the course of the years it happens. You know? It's gotta be the worst fucking disease of all. I wonder if it's the correct terminology officially. This warmed that more than I wanted it to. I wonder if it's the correct terminology officially to say that somebody who has dementia is demented. I bet it is technically the right term, but people are like, oh god, let's just phrase the sentence differently. Delicious coffee. Yes, Jay. Yes, Jay, I am indeed drinking coffee. I'm gonna just eat this pie, drink this coffee. Yes, yeah, please do ask your question. And then I'm gonna go and I always try to be cautious about consuming too many of Rachel's drugs. But I'm gonna hit her up for an olanzapine, or if she feels more comfortable with me taking half of one, I'll just take half of one. How can you tell apart ESTP from ENTJ? Oh, you probably have. What time am I staying up to? Well, that's why I want to hit Rachel up for an olanzapine, because if I take an olanzapine, maybe an hour at the most, before I'm OUT out. But because I stayed up all night last night, and I have a typing session tomorrow morning. At 10:30, is it? Jesus, that's early. Okay, well, that's fine. Hopefully Rachel will treat me on a this cheesecake's delicious. You know, I was shitting on Sarah Lee earlier in the kitchen. Because that bitch had the gall to tell me I could not eat this cheesecake that I purchased until I let it defrost in the refrigerator for 24 hours. Hello? If I wanted to wait 24 hours for food, I'd go camping in the wilderness where I don't have any food. make myself be hungry, and then come back. Well, Jimmy J. Jacobs, C.S. Joseph apparently also thinks I'm an ESTP, which is, of course, insane. Just because he thinks he's an ENTP. So he's got a lot of things backwards. He thinks up is down, left is right, smart is stupid, etc. Yeah, I heard he was an asshole. I never really dealt with him, but he did get me a strike one time. Oh my God, Bob UFO. It was a bad traffic day, let me tell you that. I mean, it may have been a normal traffic day, but it was just because I was doing business in LA during the day, during business hours, going to the bank and this other place, it meant that I was driving into LA County at exactly the wrong moment. And I was driving back out of Pasadena during the lunch rush there. And it was like, I drove all through, when I was going from the bank to the coin place, I had to drive all through the San Gabriel Valley. I made a wrong turn one time, and so I had to go back up again. But the San Gabriel Valley is the worst fucking place in the world to drive. There are so many cars. Like when I was a kid, I lived in the same valley, but the population was a lot lower. And when you take a neighborhood that was originally all single family homes and you gradually, bit by bit, take down the big lot single family homes to put up duplexes, triplexes, condos, or whatever. Now you're getting more and more people using the same streets that were made for single family homes. And it becomes just an absolute nightmare to get around. On the way out of LA, I decided to stop at this Jack in the Box that I often stop at because it's at a convenient place where it's like, it's not a busy exit except for Jack in the Box is the only place that's busy in it. So it's like, it's right off the freeway before you get to La Cañada, and it's a good exit to get off on because it's really easy to get back onto the freeway, and there's nothing else around there, so not a lot of like red lights and congestion you gotta deal with in that sense. This Jack in the Box I went to was the most crowded Jack in the Box I have ever seen. And I'm not exaggerating at all. I have never seen any Jack in the Box hopping like this one was. First of all, the people who were working there were doing a kick-ass job of handling shit. Just went bam, 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 bam. But there were so many people in there that they were still deep in the weeds. Which was just to say, there was a gathering, a big group and a growing group of people standing there waiting for their food to get there. So I figured when I first put in my order, because you put in the order at one of the screens so you don't have to actually talk to somebody. After I put in my order, I figured, well, this is going to be a while. So I went to the bathroom, came back out. I'm keeping an eye on the people who were in front of me in line, too, to see when they get their food, because there's no like number board or anything. I just know my number is 337, and the numbers they're calling don't seem to go in order at all. So I don't know what the hell's going on with that. So I just gonna keep an eye on these people in front of me. I went to the bathroom, come out of the bathroom, they're still milling around. Go outside, smoke a cigarette, come back in, they're still milling around. Go to the car, come back in, and oh, now they're getting their food. Okay, well, maybe I'll be coming up soon. So I stand around for a little bit. I go, okay, well, who knows how long it's going to take? I'm going to go back outside, and what I'll do, at least right now, is just pick up the trash from the earlier fast food, put it all in its bag, and throw it in the trash can outside the Jack in the Box here I did that. I go back inside. I'm standing around, and it's like at this point now the group is no longer getting bigger; it's starting to get smaller. But it's still more people still coming in too because it's like it's still right in the middle of lunch rush. There's probably just a momentary lull, you know. And this lady said, "Are you still waiting for an order?" And I was like, "Yeah, this is mine, 3:37." And she's like, "Oh, someone took your food." I said, "Okay, it's okay. I'll have her make you another one right now." And I mean, these people were fucking on it. It was impressive. I was impressed with this fast food crew. But it doesn't matter how good you are when your restaurant is being inundated by customers beyond the capacity for which it was, intended. And that's exactly what was happening today. Like there was this other lady there. There was like this older lady, maybe 10, 15 years older than me. And she wanted to sit at one of these tables, but it had like crap on it because the table hadn't been wiped down. And so she went to the lady up front. She said, "Can I have the thing to wipe that down?" Of course, the lady said, "I'll be right out there to get that for you." And then the lady did come right out there a little while after that and wiped down the table and went back, but she wiped down the wrong table. That wasn't the table the lady wanted. And you could, when the lady came, while she was doing that, the lady was like over at the drink thing. I don't know, getting sugars or getting something. And when she comes back and saw that her table still had not been wiped down that she wanted, she looked so like, oh. And I saw a lot of that in LA. People, other drivers, whether it be the parking lot of um, the Jack in the Box where cars, the parking lot is full because there's shit tons of people going inside. And the drive-through line is all the way full because there's shit tons of people going through the drive-through. And they all share the drive-through line and the parking lot share this little teeny parking lot. It was crazy. Yeah, fast food is a tough job. If you want to, if you want to be good at it, if you want to be good like this crew was, you try hammering out 100 hamburgers, everyone the way they want them in an hour or something. But it's quite challenging. I know that one of my favorite jobs, and also one of the jobs that I recognize, like I like the job because I get into the flow of it when there's a rush. Was working at the deli during the lunch rush. It was very crowded, like not quite as much as Jack in the Box was, maybe, but everybody from around there would come in to get Italian sandwiches, and it'd be a goodly line. Except it was, I don't know, I don't remember it ever being that crazy as it was in Jack in the Box today. But I liked it a lot because it's just you get in this flow of like, okay, you got the meow sandwich, okay, I put it here, put the order over there. Now this order here is ready for you, sir. Take the money, give the change. It was fun. I liked it. Can you help me with getting typed properly? I mean, I'm not unwilling to type you, but you. Hey, there's a document that says how to book a typing session if you really want to book one. Have you looked at that document? If you're saying, can I type you in the chat? The answer is no. Not that I won't, but that I can't. I also won't, but it's because I can't. I'll give you a discount if you want. If you really want that. Like, I don't exactly love working But how much I love or how much I like or dislike working doesn't link hardly at all to what my hourly wage is. On the one hand, it's like I'm obviously undercharging for a uniquely correct service that's both explanatory and all the other shit. People should pay like $1 million. But on the other hand, times are hard. People are struggling, and for people to even direct 30 or 40 bucks to something that may be viewed as non-essential, like a typing, well, these are the days, these are the times we live in. You know, so I understand that for sure. You know myself, because things are expensive. Groceries are expensive, everything. So yeah, if you want a discount, you can have a discount. I mean, I don't know. I told the last guy you could have it for 40 bucks or else for discount. The problem with me giving discounts, I don't know if it's contagious or not. Like, it's possible that this sort of like pattern of a succession of discounts is because this person told this other person, I got a discount by saying, I have a discount, which is probably fine because probably most people who don't need a discount don't seek one. There are obviously some STJs kind of people that'll seek a discount no matter what. But I think that's the minority. Regardless, like I don't even remember once as soon as the typing session's been booked, I have no idea who paid what or why or whatever. If you want to book one, send me 40 bucks, send me 30 bucks, somewhere in there. And I'll get an email from PayPal and I'll just do my normal thing, which is send you an email that says, thank you for purchasing a typing session. Blah, 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 blah. Do you want, what day and time do you want? I live in California time. And then you send me a day and time, and I put on the calendar and put your email address in, and it sends you an invite. And then we both sit in our respective places on Google Meet and sing Copacabana together by not Neil Diamond, instead Barry Manilow. A correction I learned the other day. Look at the fucking link, dude. There's a link at the bottom of every video that says if you'd like to book a typing session. I mean, you'd have to demonstrate to me how exactly the sucking of a pee-pee saves these lives. Here's the problem with things that claim to save lives is, how are you so sure that they were going to die except for your thing? Let's flatten the curve and save lives. And at the same time, let's remind how terrible this is to everybody by posting these wild death numbers. Millions and millions of people have died from COVID. That's why we have to keep up these things that are stopping people from dying from COVID. If masks and social distancing and waiting for a vaccine and all the other garbage, closing restaurants and shit, if it was such an effective approach to this huge health threat, then why did so many millions of people supposedly die from it? Seems to me like any reasonable evaluator would say your plans that you justified on the grounds that they were going to save lives completely failed, probably cost more lives than they ever would have saved. and destroyed countless more lives, not to mention inducing the current economic crisis that we are all suffering from. I mean, it's like, it doesn't matter how much or how little money you have, it's worth a lot less now than it was before COVID. So, it's like, if we want to make a serious impact with politics in some fashion, we need a leader who's going to. I mean, I think Trump's doing not a terrible job of, in terms of if you're just measuring impacts in terms of the economy. The tariffs are a bad economic decision. The deportations are a bad economic decision, but the deregulation is a good economic decision, and any successful cutting of government and the waste expenses that goes along with that, provided it's not a totally ill-aimed shot that hits squarely in the actual jurisdictional legitimacy of the executive branch, but rather if it's if it's like the DEA or the Department of Education or I don't know, alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. If any of those things, and Trump can get rid of those, that'll help the economy because they're huge uh, parasitic like leeches on the body politic, on the body politics economic well-being. In other words, I don't just have to just be successful enough to support me and maybe get ahead and start saving some money and stuff. I also got to work a little extra to support this yet another grossly unnecessary and overfunded bullshit-a-thon. Department of Homeland Security, get the fuck out of here. Why do we need you? What for? Don't we already have the TSA to do TSA things? Why do we need Homeland Security? Well, would you rather have Homeland and Security, Eric? Would you rather see our country fall? No, I'm just saying, why do we need the organization called Homeland Security? What even is it? Is it like a police force? Is it an intelligence thing? Is it a military branch? Nobody even knows what Homeland Security is. It's like Homeland Security is that thing that George W. Bush created for no reason a long time ago. And then, many, many years later, that thing did its first thing when it busted Diddy. Why the FBI didn't do that job, since the FBI's job, nobody knows. Trying to get him in this job, but but he's on 14 pounds and does fuck all day. What's he supposed to be doing? Dancing to entertain the sailors? I want to know what he's supposed to be doing. What kind of job is it? Is it a paper route? Throwing newspapers on people's lawns? I hear in Britain everybody still gets the newspaper delivered every day. Twice a day. Morning and evening. But the person I heard that from is a prodigious liar, so take it with a grain of salt. You machine to a very teeny tolerance? Yeah, okay, cool. So you do very precise machining. Too many engineers, time to be a truck driver. I would not want to be a truck driver. Driving down to LA and back today made me very cognizant of how little I want to be a truck driver. Not that I thought about it, but now that you mention it. What I would like to be instead is I want to get a job as the person who stands against the board and the knife thrower throws knives around them. Normally it's a buxom lady, but I'll put on my most seductive face and I'm sure I'll be fine. Like, also I want to know anybody's opinion. Just hearing this following question, what would your answer be without looking at it at all? There's a scene on Gilligan's Island where a knife thrower is throwing knives around Gilligan, like a knife here, a knife on this side, a knife here. And this. It looks very realistic. Like they actually brought in a professional knife thrower to throw the knives around Bob Denver. But here's the thing. I think it's some kind of trick. I don't think they would have just actually had him have to stand there and have knives thrown at him. Oh yeah, was I busting you? Bob, how old are you, if you don't mind my asking? I think Bob's like 45 or something. I do mind. Well, la di da. I don't mind you asking me how old Bob is. I don't know what the answer is, but I'm guessing 45. No, I have no other method of payment than PayPal. Oh, there's one other method. It's called Venmo. Rachel has a Venmo. If you have Venmo, then you could Venmo her. I'll give you a hint. I was born between the time Goodfellas came out and Shrek. You're talking about the actual gangsters or the movie? Oh, you mean the vaccinations? No, I don't think that. I mean, I don't. I'm not sure how the vaccinations exactly worked. I didn't look into the mechanism very much. I heard about these sort of RNA, this apparent RNA workaround to the reason why I correctly predicted they wouldn't successfully make a vaccine, namely that those kind of viruses are you can't make a vaccine that keeps you immune to them for very long. And if you have to get another booster shot every week or something, then it's not an effective vaccine. Obviously, the COVID vaccine was not a vaccine at all because vaccines prevent you from getting the disease. It might have been a symptom softener, as they tried to eventually claim that, okay, well, it doesn't prevent the disease, but it does mean that if you get the disease, you'll get it less bad, at least that you'll be less likely to die in a hospital by this tiny but statistically significant amount. I mean, well, sure, if you cherry pick the one statistical significance that you can find that is in your favor, then you just don't deserve to be a scientist. Who knows what was in it? I don't worry about it being bad for you, though. I think it was a failed attempt at a vaccine, not some sort of surreptitious way to get something else into you. And I feel pretty confident about that because while I don't remember it all and I didn't understand it all at the time, I read a lot of very dense, or at least I skimmed through and read some portions of in detail, a lot of very dense stuff about what these viruses, what the virus looked like, where it differed from what a natural virus looked like. Like I called it as a lab release way before the national, anybody heard from the national sources like the CIA recently said, the CIA now suspects it's a lab release. I said it like very early because I know how to research things and I know how to be right. At least it wasn't the J&J one. Exactly, Putty Cat. It was not a vaccination. Vaccinations prevent you from getting something. You know, like the polio vaccine. The reason nobody has polio anymore is because that vaccine prevented people from getting polio. The MMR vaccine. The reason measles, mumps, and rubella don't claim many children's lives like they used to is because the vaccine prevents the children from getting those diseases. The idea that whatever Johnson and Johnson or Pfizer product you want to point at that claim to be a vaccine would still, to this day, have the gall, the audacity to use the word vaccine to describe their product is insulting to each and every one of us. I know rubella sounds like a lovely name, right? Oh, I am Rubella. Welcome to my Baltic village. I am a buxom young Rubella. No, I didn't even have you. I mean, minuscule ones. I think they may have skipped the animal trials and just gone straight to human. I don't know what they did. They convinced someone somewhere that this thing they had made was legit. And you know, it's like I'm sure they tried to make it legit. They are, after all, pharmaceutical companies. But they knew going in what I knew going in, what I learned about right away going in, um, and what proved to be the case, which is you can't vaccinate for coronaviruses. That's why we have no vaccine for the common cold. That's why they had to try this supposedly like novel approach of RNA. Blah, blah, blah. And we as a population, collectively, despite Eric's yelling at people, we decided to wait for the vaccine before people can live. And there just was a general presumption that it was going to work fine, right? In fact, it didn't work at all, and we waited for nothing. As a matter of fact, if we had let it run its course right from the very beginning, like I said, then all of the ancillary harms of isolation, loneliness, of things like harming every single hard of hearing person in the country because now they can no longer read anybody's lips because everybody's got to wear a mask. Things like telling a man who's been married to his wife for 50 years that he cannot visit her in the nursing home where he just put her because COVID. The amount of suicides, the amount of economic devastation, you know, family A owned a restaurant. They weren't rich, but they were getting by. They were putting a little bit of money away. COVID wiped out every bit of their savings. They tried hanging on with the business for a little while, but business was slow coming back, and they ended up having to declare bankruptcy, and their home is now being foreclosed on. Oh, and Their Uncle Joe and Sister Mary, they both died of COVID anyway. The whole family, of course, was opposed to being forced to shut down their restaurant. But unfortunately, nobody listened to Eric. Could you share why you said it shouldn't be used? What shouldn't be used? People? People shouldn't be used as a means to an end, but rather treated as an end in themselves. That's correct. I agree. Stop using people and start using drugs. That'd be a good public service announcement. Oh, yeah, that's so fixed. I'm gonna win the Mr. Fix It Award. We're not preaching about homes. I don't say anything about homes, right? And remember the deal for real, the deal for real. I lived my entire adult life in a house that I rented one way or the other until I finally moved back in with my parents. It's not like I owned a home at any point, no. But it's also not like my parents provided me housing at any point. And whether it's given to me or earned by me, if it gets taken away by me because I can't pay property taxes, because I can't do any work, because the government's deemed me an unnecessary person or unnecessary field or something, well then, I mean, it's like people having their home, people getting foreclosures on their homes is a terrible phenomenon. I'm opposing it, right? I'm saying that's a bad thing. My house cannot be foreclosed on because I own it free and clear. But nevertheless, it can be taken away from me if I don't pay the property taxes. Like if I had no means of, if I were one of those people who had a restaurant and stuff like that and was relying on that for ongoing tuition payments, ongoing mortgage payments, etc. Well, he just took a happy, fully functioning family and destroyed them. Thanks. For what? We didn't save lives, right? Not any that you can establish were definitely saved by any of this behavior. Whereas we can articulate the harms of lockdowns in countless different instances and ways. And it's pretty evident at this point to anybody who's honest about the situation that it was a foolhardy and disastrous departure from our kind of fundamental core values of, first of all, the Constitution. We have freedom of assembly, for fuck's sake. Not freedom of assembly unless there's a cold going around. We have freedom of assembly. If there's going to be some sort of emergency that justifies temporarily constraining that, emergencies can't last 2 fucking years. An emergency is an emergency because it's emerging. Was like COVID still coming around? Like just slowly making my way around the world here in 2 years? No? Well, then it may have been a problem, but it was no longer emergent and cannot be used to justify forced lockdowns of businesses, etc., that were absolutely critical to the well-being of those people. No, I don't think it's poison. No, I know the economy does suck right now. We are very lucky. Property taxes, not slavery. Property taxes are among the most justified of taxes, actually, because land is a finite resource that can be converted into many different possible resources. Like, it's not a big deal in America because there's so much land. But in England, land monopolies at least were at some point and really continue to be a problem. You've got like Duke whatever who has this shit ton of land in this little island, and it, it's if you I'm not saying people shouldn't be able to succeed and purchase that kind of stuff and etc. But they need it to it needs to cost them something to just sit on it. So like if because I just sat on this other house for a year, it's cost me opportunity cost. In other words, if I had done the work right away and got it rented the rental, we would have earned meow out by now. And it also cost in terms of property taxes. If it's not earning any money, now the property taxes on that house are low, but um, then it's just costing property taxes. It's additionally costing money now, currently, in terms of electricity and internet, which I need to have over there for when I work over there on the painting and stuff. So, whereas normally you'd have the $300,000 for the house invested in something like, I don't know, stocks or potentially something super stable like bonds, maybe some kind of high yield treasury bond or something, or potentially a mix of things, including something that's more volatile like crypto. How much would it have? What would have happened in that year? You know, with that amount of money, instead of having to sit in this house, the money, while Eric fails to accomplish anything. Now, granted, it wasn't until very recently that I feel like uh, I'm back to my old self, and I can expect myself to accomplish things again. And I don't feel like this plaguing question of what in the world is wrong with me? Why can't I have fun? Why can't I do man? Because I'm having a lot of fun. I'm doing a lot of man. All right, let me go see if I can hit Rachel up for a Lansy, an Angela Lansbury, you might call it, or some people call it an olanzapine. I'll be back in a second, okay? Cool. All right, got a Lansy. Yeah, I mean, in a large scale discussion of role of government, there's not a whole lot of disagreement that one job of government is to enforce the laws, protect individuals' rights from being violated by other individuals accordingly, and provide accountability forums, either civil or criminal, for those who violate rights. So there's not really much more to say about that. However, a new job of government is environmental protection. Historically, that was not something government did, and it doesn't fit very well into our constitutional framework. It's not expressly a job of the federal government because they didn't even think of it as being a possible job. All right, cool. Well, okay, well, did you send? Do you want Rachel's Venmo? Is that why you sent me an email? Rachel, what's your Venmo?
I have to figure out how to get it.
All right, don't worry about it. I'll read his email. I don't even know if he wants it yet.
Okay.
Oh. All right, fine. What day and time do you want? You say that in the email already? Okay, let's see. Gamal. Miggity. Copy. Calendar. What did you say? What day and time you want? I don't remember. Oh, you didn't say what day and time you want. You say in the chat here? Let's find out. What am I doing with this? What's going on in the world? I don't know. I don't get it anymore. It's all so confusing. Calendar. And chat. Let's see what he says. Saturday? Yes, fine. Saturday the 22nd? What time? What time in California time? What time do you want in California time? Okay, well, don't tell me that. Just you tell me what time you want on Saturday in California time. This is how I put the burden on you to make the conversion instead of me. That way, if it's wrong, it's your fault. You're from Tennessee, 4:30 is... Oh, I see. 5 p.m. California time. Okay, 5 p.m. California time on Saturday, the 22nd. 5 p.m. Saturday, 22nd. Where's my keyboard? Here it is. Thanks, beautiful. Oh, the caps lock on. That's fine. That's good. And save and send. All right, done. Thank God that was quick and not complicated. Good job being quick and not complicated. That took a lot out of me, I gotta tell you. Whew! What are my thoughts on God? Do I believe there is one? I mean, I self-identify as a Christian and I engage in prayer, which is the behavior of faith in something. So, since faith is belief in the absence of evidence or in the faith's contrary evidence, then since I engage in faith, I engage in belief. But most importantly, I would say what I don't engage in is arguments about God. Like, I don't perceive my engagement with God via prayer as being predicated on my proving He exists, for example, because if I were to do that, then it would no longer be an exercise of faith. in general, my approach towards faith-based stuff is like everything has got its own frame of reference, and like most things, most people are getting it wrong. Can you guess who's not getting it wrong? If you pointed to this guy, you're right. Now you're not getting it wrong either. You correctly identified who it was that was not getting it wrong. You gotta smoke this bowl before you pack a new one, Eric. Smoke the old one before you pack a new one. I don't believe in arguing. Okay. Now we're making a little more sense, Easy BCLS. You thought you had left out a knot, but really, you had just made a contraction. That's what that little apostrophe is for. It represents the O and not. That's a good feeling, bong rip. I ain't smoking no hookah. I'm pulling bong rips, old school style. Would you rather scroll up through my last comment or I'll post it again? Um, uh, I'll scroll up. It's fine. I'll scroll up. If I have trouble finding it, then I'll let you know. Let's see here. Dear Eric, if you were to have a child in the near future, what career advice would you give it, given the unclear developments of AI and the automation of intellectual labor? Well, I mean, I'd probably suggest that you do something that has real job security, like plumbing, electrical. Electricians are always going to be needed, and the electrical work is something that most people just won't do by themselves, even if they'll do other kind of work by themselves. I used to smoke a lot of weed, but now it makes me anxious, so I need to be drunk to smoke. Oh, well, you know what I bet else would work? If you took a Klonopin and smoked, you probably wouldn't be anxious and you'd still be somewhat high, at least. Cloning tends to be it is a trip killer for psychedelics, but it has a little bit of that effect on weed too. It makes it harder to get high. Yeah. Well, a great mixture is let's say you want to be up and having fun doing stuff, but also super chill. Then a great mixture is Adderall and Klonopin plus a Wellbutrin and a Prozac. That's a great combo right there. Then, if you want to go to sleep, just kick in an olanzapine in there as well. You um, you take some gabapentin too. Would you choose to be an electrician if you had been born in the last 2 decades? No, but the thing is, I was asked what career advice I would give, not what advice about careers I would give. Like, in other words, what I would say to my kid is, I'm not sure what's happening here. And the bottom line is, you've got to figure out, you and I have to figure out who you are first before I can meaningfully tailor any advice to you. I fill my enema up with GHB, and I've taken now 3 or 4 roofies, and I'm ready to lie down and fall asleep and get humped. Candy flip. Is that mushrooms and MDMA? Yeah. I already feel myself getting tired. Okay, I'm gonna wrap. Do I smoke? Yeah. In fact, we'll go outside and smoke a cigarette before I wrap this up. We're gonna go smoke a cigarette. We're gonna say our gentle evening goodbyes. So I want you guys, as we're outside, I want you to imagine sophisticated people like leaving the party. Goodbye, goodbye, and the hands pull apart like that. Well, I mean, I would say to my kid, if I were to have one now, how the fuck did that happen? Where the fuck did you come from? I made quite sure not to splooge inside your mother. I guess I must have messed up one time or something. I think I would remember if I did, though. I'd say, listen, son, what I want you to go do today is work on your disability. An able bodied American, you are not going to be able to support yourself. Now, as a double amputee, you won't have to support yourself. And that's one to grow on. Well, I mean, the kid's gonna end up doing what they want anyway. But if you're asking like what kind of meaningful conversations can you have with a kid, despite the fact that them doing a sure birthday boy, I'm sorry I wasn't seeing you early enough. Am I projecting about what? I'm not projecting about shit. I'm just saying that I was really just making a joke about disability. I didn't really think anything about disability until a couple of events. One time I was in San Dimas and I saw these fat ladies in this one like bookstore. It's like they had met there this morning to hang out and have coffee and stuff, and they were talking about getting their disability checks and stuff. You know, they're obviously not too disabled to go meet at a coffee shop and have coffee. So why are they too disabled to work? The next thing that happened was this girl Haley, who was Kimberly's niece. She was a good singer and she sang on a couple of songs with me. And then her social workers managed to get her disability after she, I don't know, was hospitalized one time for like suicidal ideation or something. And they got her successfully on disability. So now she's going to get, starting at $2,000 a month, probably growing over time, for the rest of her life. And how old was she when this happened? Like 16 or 17. That's a real burden on the taxpayer, right? And what determines if you get disability? The effectiveness of your social worker, if you have one, or number two, your persistence. Rachel actually applied for disability. I I kind of kept my. I mean, I approved of it, sort of like her parents were pushing for it. She was and is disabled, and it's just like, well, I guess if you want to fill out the paperwork, let's go ahead and do this. It wasn't my choice for me, right? It was her choice for her, and she by most reasonable standards, she is definitely disabled. Whether she's too disabled to work, I don't probably think so. She might have to work at a job where she sits down because she's lost a lot of the feeling in her legs, her calves and down maybe, and etc. Rachel did not get approved for disability, but we had explained to us how to get her approved for disability by this person who said, "Look, the key thing is what you got to do is just keep coming back, keep going to these things, and when the file gets to a certain amount of thickness, then you'll be approved." And that's what we were told. No, she did not get approved for disability, and I approve of that. And it's not like I was rooting against her or anything, but I thought, well, at least I guess this file thickness thing is at least slowing down the disability claims. But the bottom line is, people who get on disability are not the most disabled. Plenty of disabled people never try to get on disability of any kind. The people who get on disability are the people who have the best TE and the least concern for the taxpayer. Who never worked a day? Oh, yeah. I was going to end it, huh? I was going to go have a cigarette, and then I haven't had the cigarette yet. So let's go. I'll definitely end this soonish because I took a full olanzapine and I'm going to get very tired pretty soon. And I needed to do that. I need to get tired soon and get some sleep because I've got a typing session tomorrow at 10:30. That's like 3 a.m. practically. 10:30? Why did I not suggest 11:30 or noon? 10:30? Well, the answer is because I never really know what time I'm going to be up and what time I'm going to be sleepy. Like if I let tonight naturally play out, maybe I'd find myself getting really tired and need to go to bed at like 9:30. Well, now I'm shit out of luck. I'm exhausted. I got another hour before I can even begin the thing. I'm going to be subpar, etc. Blah, blah, blah. That won't happen with this one because Angela Lansbury is a very sleep-inducing actress and drug for me. Of course, Angela Lansbury is the nickname of olanzapine. I've definitely been up to. I've been up quite a while like this. It's when I hear the music and the noise, whether it's the sound of wind, the sound of water, or something. I'll be like, "What is playing?" Like today, I could hear earlier. In fact, today I could hear quite clearly what was playing in the wind. It was the Star Spangled Banner. It's like, oh my God, it's they're playing. Who's they? It's just your own brain playing tricks on you. You're tired and it's making audio pareidolia out of the noise. But it becomes cogent when you like intuit when you get to figure out, oh, it's the Star Spangled Banner, then it suddenly like drops in and starts sounding like the Star Spangled Banner for sure all the way through. Just like, oh wow, this is really cutting through the static there. You can hear it quite clearly. pretty trippy stuff. But you know, that's where the lines of mental illness and being tore up blur, right? I'm super tore up and have been doing a bunch of drugs and a lot for, too long. And now I'm just punch drunk with tiredness and just head resin in general. Like I am now. Then now, blah, 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 then now. You know what I'm saying. Trust me. Deep down inside, you know what I'm saying. I love you. Is that too flirty of me? Look, I'm not really flirting with you. It's acting, okay? I can't help it that I'm a genius actor. Here, not that long ago, I briefly transformed into like a 20-year-old girl taking photos of herself. That's why, so ever since, I know how to look sexy. It's like that. Hi, Capio. What a good kitty. Trouble, you get away from her. I'll follow you in the kitchen. Fine. He doesn't sit, he stands and pees. These are things we know about knees, and that's something I want you to do. Oh, yeah, I do. I sit down when I pee. Why stand? Unnecessarily. Standing requires more energy than sitting. And, I might be distracted in my head. It might take me a while to start peeing. So I'm sitting down. Keep in mind, never would I sit down to pee outside of my own house in my own preferred toilet. I won't even barely use the other toilets. I only will use one toilet in this house because it's better than the other ones. Not only do I sit down to pee, but I also have this very important piece of furniture that few people have. This footstool. See, when you sit down on the toilet, I slide this here. I can put my feet at up to 3 different levels. For comfort, I could put a cup of coffee on there if I want to use the top level as a table. Put my feet on the bottom levels. It's really one of the best ideas I've ever had. That used to be in the garage. One day I said, you know what? I want a poop stool. I brought it in here. And it has nary left its spot since because it gets used by both me and Rachel every time we sit down on the toilet. It just makes toilet sitting a more pleasant and ergonomically refined experience. No, I don't stand up to poop. It's not backwards world, Pretty Cat. I'm thinking about transitioning to lying down while I pee. Just planking across the toilet. What else do you need to send me? Are we meeting on Saturday? What are you giving me homework for? Fine. I don't like to check my email. it's just this nagging thing that exists. Nag, nag, nag. You have 32,382 unread emails. Better get busy. Yeah, that's how to be a 20-year-old girl taking pictures of herself. That's a great picture. I'll show it to everybody here. JJJ, as I have deemed him, understandably, why, has sent me this. I think I'm going to share it with Rachel. In fact, what do you do with it? Open with photo editor. Oh, I see. Download. Yeah. Share. Save to photos. Save to photos. I'm going to save to photos. Did I save it to photos? Now I'm going to go to photos. Photos. That's a good thumbnail. I'll use that at some point. The thumbnail. Thank you for clicking that. It's helpful. Share with Rachel. Share with Rachel. Okay. Oops. So my phone is once again dying. It's supposed to do because every time I unplug it, it just starts going like, "Oh, I'm running out of electricity." So I'm gonna wrap this up now. That's God's way of telling me to end the stream. Let's look over here at the chat before I go to make sure I didn't miss anything. Any last comments here? Any great significance? New profile pic, not a bad profile pic. I like my current profile pic though too. Trouble! You dirty bitch! Stop being such a fucking punk! Stop it! God, he's such a dick. Trouble's being a dick as usual. Okay. Sorry for the explosiveness here at the end. Until later, I bid you a fond farewell.